Great. Well, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here today and tell you a bit about an initiative that Century College has been involved in since 2011. But before I do that, it occurred to me that you may not know much about the college, so I want to give you a little bit of background relative to where we are and who we serve. Century College is located in the northeast quadrant of the Twin Cities. We are the largest two-year college in the state, serving around 10,000 students each fall. This past fall, 60% of our students were attending part-time, 55% are female. We serve a large number of veterans, over 650 veteran students in the past year. And 25% of our students are first-generation students, that is the first student in their family to attend college. Over the last 10 years, the college has become increasingly diverse. 10 years ago, 19% of our students were students of color. This past year, it was 38%. So we've had a lot of change in the college, which has really helped us to galvanize around taking action and changing what we do to meet the changing needs of our students. 70% of our students last year received financial aid and 63% were Pell eligible. So we've also seen a change in the economic backgrounds of our students, leading to a much more diverse and environment with many more students coming to us from poverty. The staff and the faculty at the college, we have about 500 to 600 staff, depending on the semester and how many part-time and adjunct faculty we use, is only about 12% people of color. So one of the issues that we continually work on is how do we diversify our faculty and staff to really mirror the student population. In 2011, Century College joined the Achieving the Dream Network. That's a network of 200 colleges, two-year colleges across the country that have all been focused on sharing a common commitment to use data to identify achievement gaps and to implement and improve strategies that are aimed at closing those achievement gaps. It's an institutionally based initiative that draws on common promising practices. At the college, we had a long history of interventions aimed at improving student success, but they were rather disparate and tended to jump around a bit. Joining Achieving the Dream really helped us focus our efforts on those initiatives and those interventions that have proven to be most efficacious across the country. The focus of the Achieving the Dream Network really lies in 4 different emphases. It lies around guiding evidence-based institutional change, instituting policy reform, generating and sharing knowledge, and engaging the community. So for us, it's really bullets number 1 and 3 that we primarily interface with the network on, and that is looking at how we can change our institution in ways that is going to improve student success and eliminate the achievement gap, and then generating information about what works and sharing that with other institutions. The focus of our college, and one thing I've neglected to mention at the beginning, is that Century is part of the Minnesota State College and University systems. We have 23 other two-year college peers within our system and 7 state universities. Across the entire system, it's fair to say that our focus is very, very finely tuned right now to be looking at student success and eliminating the achievement gap. Nearly all of our institutions, not quite all of them, the majority of us all face the same kind of gaps. In looking at our data, we know that we have racial disparities in terms of retention, transfer, and graduation rate, and we have disparities among the different income groups of our students. So those are the 2 pieces that we have been focusing on. A cornerstone of Achieving the Dream is looking at data and understanding what's happening with your students. So for us, that has led us to 3 different things that we're focusing on. One is a targeted series of classroom interventions. Those include things like a new student seminar for our new entering students that test into developmental reading courses. We have learning communities where we pair 2 or more courses together where the students are taking interdisciplinary, 2 courses that are from 2 different disciplines, but assignments are interwoven and the faculty work together in new ways. We have a program where we embed student tutors into the classes that work on outside classroom experiences with the students. And then we also have a series of targeted service interventions, looking at how we can better manage students' enrollment and essentially taking a case management type of approach for tracking their progress and working with them, intrusive advising, and then a series of programs working with different student groups. We have a brother-to-brother program, which is a leadership program for African American, Latino, and Asian American males, looking at how we can help develop leaders among those groups that actually go out and work with our broader student body. And then we also have a series of student clubs and affinity groups that are extremely active, working not only on the student success agenda, but also on building community, smaller communities, if you will, within the larger college. The third prong for our approach is one of looking at organizational and professional development. And when Valerie was talking this morning, one of the things that struck me was that we have those action-based initiatives that we're working hard on, but we also know that nothing is going to change fundamentally if we don't, as an institution, look at how we do what we do and who we are as an institution, and how do we grow and change, because we are not serving a predominantly white student body that we used to serve 10 years ago. So our curriculum is being examined from a culturally relevant standpoint. Our services are being examined, and we're really trying to turn around what we do so that we're more effective in working with all students across the system. And I would say it's not just what Century is doing, but you would hear similar stories from all of the schools within MSPWin. As a system, we're intentionally looking at how we can do what we do better. So for us, it's really a matter of equity. It's about changing what we do. It's about changing our perspective from focusing on equality to understanding equity and what that means in the classroom and outside of the classroom. And it means we need to be looking at how we can partner differently with our sister institutions, as well as with business and industry and our community agencies. We each have a piece, and it's time for us to start pulling those pieces together. I'm going to now turn it over to one of our students at Century, Renee Cortez. Renee has experienced some of those changes that we've been implementing in the last year, both as a student, but also as a leader of some of those changes.
When I first came to Century, I was fresh out of high school, and something like the college experience was something brand new to me. So in that first semester, I was enrolled in, like Ron was saying, one of the learning communities, and it was called Crossing Boundaries. Now that learning community did something for me that was just phenomenal. Being in those classes with both classes had the same students in both of them, it was like this little family. And you know, having that family and those two teachers there for me, it meant that I wasn't alone. And it really helped boost my confidence, not only myself, but in my academic skill ability. And just being there that first semester was wonderful. And there were two great things that I got from that learning community. One that I already mentioned, it was like a stepping stone into my college experience. And the second one was that I got my very first job through that learning community. Because it proved so successful for me, I was named the tutor for it for the following semester. Now, there's one thing that you guys should all know about me, and it's that I really want to make a difference in this life. And through that first semester that I tutored, I had one student in particular that struggled a great deal with the course material. To start off with, he had no notion of how to operate Microsoft Word, and one of the classes was an English class. So, Century College has 2 academic support centers, and I was a tutor in the West Campus one. So that student and I spent a great deal of hours in that room learning together. And eventually, he was able to pass the English class portion of the learning community. He thanked me so much for being there for him when he needed it. But you know what? Then I thanked him. Because when you have a student and a tutor, or a teacher and a student, it's not only the student who learns. Because what that student gave to me was honest praise and respect. And those are things that you cannot buy. So through this learning community and through that student and many that followed him, I was able to go through with my dream of making a difference. In addition to the learning community, I also tutor the developmental math classes at Century, which may seem interesting because I am not very good at math. But as we all know, anyone who works for it can do it, and that's what I did. With hard work, determination, and with help from a tutor of my own, I passed all 3 of my math classes with A's. And now I am part of the TRIO program, which is a federally funded program for first-generation college students. And I'm also a student ambassador, and I was vice president of the Spanish Club. So I'm very involved at Century, and I really love what the people there do. The staff of Century College is very welcoming and accepting to all who come through her doors. People come to Century from all corners of the world, and I see what the impact Century has on them. But personally, for me, the impact Century has had on my life has given me pride, respect, knowledge, and the inspiration to become a college-level English teacher in the future. But most of all, it has helped me with my most important goal in life, and that is to make a difference.